Hello everybody. Had some technical difficulties getting started today. My camera died in the morning. It's been one hell of a morning. I'll wait till some people come in. I will do the bell in a minute. This stuff happens. I can't do anything about it. It's a red pre-market. It's pretty much a red market today, even though we had a decent rally yesterday. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Let me give a couple seconds to let people come in, and then we will get started with opening up the market. Again, I know I missed the bell. I missed kind of 9:30ish. I missed the time, but we're gonna give it a second. I'm here. LOL, Richard. What's up? Morning, Amit. Morning. All right, let's get into. As you can see, the camera itself isn't even that good. Like, my camera died last night, and I left it on, and that screwed up the battery. It's just, mistake after mistake, because we're human beings, and all we do is make mistakes. Let's go to Webull. There we go. We should be in Webull now, right? We are in Webull. Let me make this a little bit smaller, and let's ring the bell because the market is open. The market is indeed open. Ready? For the 10 people who are here, you are lucky enough to be graced by the presence of the bell and be here first to feel the bell. All right, 3, 2, 1. The market is open. And let's see what's going on with the market. All right, so what do we got here? We have some stuff to talk about. First of all, with Palantir, we have a new video we have to watch with Bank of America talking about their analysis of Palantir. In general, the market's red, but it's not crazy red. Like, it's not horrible red. It's just kind of red. Morning, Theo, more cowbell fetish for the win. Glitch life. Yes, indeed. ARK down 2% below 40. We're going to look at ARK's holdings in a second. I actually haven't seen what they've done for the past couple of days in terms of trading, so we're going to look at that. Spotify at 100. Hood, Robinhood at 1.46. We have some big crypto news to talk about as well. First of all, let's see where Bitcoin's at. Where's Biddy? Bitcoin's at, okay, $489 away from 19,000. So yesterday, what had happened in the market was there was a little bit of this rally, right? And this rally kind of made us feel like things were good. And one of the articles I saw, that it was talking about how can we reduce inflation if we have a green market and we have a rally? Because in order to reduce inflation, either we have to get more supply, particularly of oil, which is not going to happen, or we have to destroy demand. And the only way to destroy demand is theoretically to have somewhat of a recession, so people could stop buying stuff. If stocks are going up, people are buying stuff. And so that's why yesterday kind of did feel like a dead cat bounce. Anything over the next month or 2 months to me is going to feel like a dead cat bounce until we have legitimate data that inflation is going down and that we are allowed to go back up. So the market's great yesterday is responding to a pretty nasty morning today in terms of what's going on. Let's open up the Palantir new YouTube video that came out. It's not Palantir, it's Bank of America. They're talking about Palantir, Bank of America, Palantir. Here it is. So today's most valuable pick, Palantir. Let's click on it. Let's make sure it's all working. I want to hear this, so we're going to listen to this video, and then we're going to go look at what's going on in the stock. Amit, I paused Taylor Swift for this. It better be good. Well, hopefully it's better. Facebook seems like a screaming buy. We're going to talk about Facebook a little bit. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg will be interviewed by Jim Cramer at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to be very interested to see what he asks him there. All right, let's watch this.
Time for today's MVP, most valuable pick, and today it's software company Palantir. The stock closing 6% higher today after Bank of America initiated coverage of the stock with a buy rating. Joining me now is Ron Epstein. He's senior aerospace and defense analyst at Bank of America Global Research. It was his call. Ron, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Mike.
Tell us the thesis behind this. I mean, it seems like kind of an opportunistic call. Obviously, the stock down a lot from its highs, from 70% even after today's move. But what are the key, longer-term drivers of value that you see?
Yeah, so when you think about what's going on in the market, we've been very bullish on defense. If you look at where the defense budget's going to come in this year, it's going to come in probably $850 billion, and we think it's going to be close to $1 trillion when you get to 2026. And we've seen the defense stocks, the big defense names reflect that, but it hasn't been, that revaluation in defense has not been.
You guys are saying J-Pow's talking right now. I don't know. Is that the most interesting thing to talk about? I don't know. I think he's just doing this Q&A thing. I didn't think I really wanted to cover that right now. So maybe we'll see later. I got a couple other things I want to talk about, but we'll see if we can get to that.
Reflected in Palantir. And Palantir is a great way to get at it. If you look at Palantir, about 2/3 of their revenue is government. About half of that is national security. That's about 1/3 commercial. So when we see the defense budget have that kind of growth, this is a way to get at it. And I think broadly the way to think about it, data is the new bullets, right? And these guys are all about artificial intelligence, data organization, and how to see trends and bigger pictures in the data. And from all the companies we talk to, they're working their way into more and more customers in the national security space. And think about it as sort of Palantir inside, the Palantir data operating system, living in a lot of other systems that are fabricated or are put together by a lot of the other companies we cover. So we think this is a really nice way to get at an increase in national security spending where it hasn't been reflected yet in the multiple of the company or the stock performance. And I would argue most of the analysts who cover it today aren't looking at that.
All right, so the guy's saying, look, there's a bull case for defense. There's a bull case for data and analytics in defense, and a lot of the analysts covering it don't really get that Palantir has the lead here.
I think a lot of the people that are looking at it aren't really giving them full credit for what's going on in national security. The stock trading today around $9, that just barely gives them credit for the defense piece, or a way to look at it is they're pricing in defense but not giving them any credit for commercial.
Right. I mean, it's interesting because I guess shortly after the IPO, there was some concern that maybe the skew toward government customers was going to prevent it from expanding more on the commercial side. You don't think that's a risk?
No. I mean, a lot of the technology, if you think about how they've organized their business, they've got 3 product silos and one that's specifically set up for the commercial markets. And like what we've seen in some other businesses, there are technologies that you can develop for a government customer that you can use in commercial markets. So I don't think it impedes it at all. Not at all. And in broadly speaking, if you can have the U.S. government pay for a lot of your development, it's a great way to fund what you're doing.
Yeah, and you got a $13 price target, which is well below the highs, but it's up almost about 50% from today's close. Ron, we got to leave it there. Appreciate you taking the time.
All right, so I mean that makes a lot of sense to me at the end of the day. Look, his argument around Palantir and their appreciation is like they're barely being valued for the level of defense that they have, which is true. And this is why I think it should be a really strong, nice little recovery when it does happen. Particularly because of how slow, like they're trading below DPO prices, right? So like they really weren't valued at all. For any of the stuff that they've done. Now, I guarantee the market has crashed, but I mean, if we're seeing Palantir, they want it at $13, it's not going to be at $8 forever, right? This is where like the opportunity comes in of like, okay, if major banks are thinking this thing's at 13 and it's at 8, I have a $5 upside from here. If you want to reduce your average, you can reduce your average, etc. Am I buying? Not yet. I'm still waiting a little bit. I think there is a little bit more pain to come. I did buy like a couple shares last week at 7.30 or something, just like dipped my toe in a little bit. I might be trying to dip in a little bit more, but we're going to see. I'm not like over the moon excited to start buying right now. I think on the next dip, the next little thing we have, then I might start going in a little bit more deeper, but we will see. So that's what's going on with Palantir. Tesla, and we're going to talk about Facebook right after that. Tesla's at $711. Elon Musk just did an interview with the Saudis at some Saudi economic forum. I have not watched that interview yet, but I know he talked about Twitter and he talked about a bunch of different stuff going on over there. So we will definitely check that. Or well, I'm probably not going to go through the whole thing, but in that he did talk about Twitter and how he wants to be the product of Twitter. He wants to be the chief product officer of Twitter. So whether you call him the CEO or whatever, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I just want to run the product at Twitter and make the product of Twitter better. Which is reasonable. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately, it's just a question of can you do that with all the other stuff you have to do? There's a lot of stuff to do. Amit, do you think B of A really understands Palantir? Yeah, I mean, I think their analysts, if they are increasing their price target, they definitely feel, and based on what that guy said right now, that there is a demand in the market that Palantir is fulfilling that it's not being valued for effectively, which is AI, data, analytics. And the way he said it, he basically said data is the new oil, right? He was like, data is like the new bullets. He's like, you have more data, you have more abilities to compete. And it's interesting because like 20 years ago, that wasn't really the case, right? Because data wasn't operational. There weren't workflows around data. People didn't know how to interpret and make sense of data. Now that everything's digital, like if you can track X, Y, and Z, and that directly relates to business intelligence and correlation to revenue, then data's everything because you know exactly what to do with your data. Amit always trying to time the market. Yep. Amit's always trying to time the market. That's exactly what I'm doing. All right. So let's go to Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook. So one thing I want to show on Facebook is so Mark Zuckerberg is going to be. So Powell tells Congress the Fed is strongly committed to bringing down inflation. Yeah, I mean, we know that. So that's why I didn't think it was that interesting to cover that. So we know that Zucks is talking to Jim Cramer today. And I'm going to make a video a little bit later today about the top questions that I think Cramer should ask him. Where is the article? Let me type in this. CNBC, Mark Zuckerberg, something like that. Yeah, here we go. So the stock fell yesterday, even though the market was pretty good. So let's go to Meta. They're not Facebook anymore. They're Meta now. 157. It's the lowest it's been. If you actually look at their 5-year, they're flat for the 5-year. So look at this. In 2017, it was 149, 150. 5 years later, 149, 150. Exact same thing. Like, that's actually insane, right? That's actually insane. In the past 5 years, this is why entry price is so important with some of these stocks. It's like, if you bought in here, you're down. If you bought in here, you're down. You bought in here, you're down. You bought in all the way up here, you're down. You bought in anywhere here, you're down. But if you bought in at 2017, you're flat. You're not even up. So, I mean, this is the nature of the stock market and how it operates. And investors are obviously really upset because why? Facebook has 3.6 billion active users. They're like, how can you guys not be doing more with 3.6 billion active users? They have all the cash in the world. I mean, they have like they have $95 billion in net profit that they made. Like, it's insane the amount of money these guys have. They're a printing machine. The problem is, they have a horrible brand image. People do not like Facebook. I don't care about Facebook. Most people do not like Facebook. And second of all, outside of not liking Facebook, their user growth is potentially declining due to the competition with TikTok, which is why Zuckerberg showed these prototype headsets to build support for his $10 billion metaverse bet. Mark Zuckerberg is basically like this kid, right? And he's in a playground, and he's looking at the investors who built his sandbox, and that's subsidizing his ability to keep playing in the playbox or the sandbox. And he's like, hey, I built this new thing, and I'm taking a $10 billion bet that it's going to work. And, investors are like, all right, like, we hope it's okay. But at the end of the day, they know that if this doesn't work or if this is not as successful as they thought it could be, it's a really tough time to own Facebook stock. So Meta expects to spend at least $10 billion this year on research and development this year, not over the course of a couple years, this year on virtual reality and augmented reality technologies. Zuckerberg on Monday showed off how much progress the company's made by revealing many of the unfinished headset prototypes. These prototypes are custom and bespoke models that we built in our lab, so they're not products that are ready to ship. Apple is working on this stuff as well, right? So this is the interesting part. It's like both companies think that the metaverse or VR or whatever is going to be a big thing. I'm not bullish on it because I don't care too much, but I don't think people are going to spend that much time on it. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that, right? We'll see what happens when the product comes out. But Zuckerberg does think it's going to be a big thing. For instance, on his last earnings call, Meta said the recent privacy change to Apple makes iPhone could cost $10 billion in foregone revenue this year. The VR market is currently small. There are questions how big it gets. Gaming is obviously going to be a big market. There were only 11 million headsets sold during the year, far number than PCs or computers. What Zuckerberg showed, Meta is developing next-generation headsets designed to provide a realistic experience for users to feel like they're in the same room with other people. It's not going to be that long before we can create scenes in perfect fidelity. Well, the issue today is that the vividness of screens that we now have compared to what your eye sees in the physical world is off by an order of magnitude or more. I agree. So like what you're looking at your phone versus looking at a human being is obviously, even if you're watching something in 4K, it's different. The question is, how much does that matter? It's overall this question of like, do you want to live in these metaverses or do you want to just go to the real world? I mean, that's like the basic question here. It's like a simple business question. And at the end of the day, I think Apple and Facebook both might get this wrong. Like, do people really want to put this on and spend time in the metaverse versus just go out and like do other stuff? I mean, I think that's the question. I think that's why the stock is struggling, right? Not only is TikTok really screwing up Facebook, but another thing I saw about TikTok the other day is that Zuck wants to bring Ready Player One to real life. That is true. Zuck's also is losing to TikTok because this is what TikTok said, right? TikTok looked at Meta, and TikTok was like, here's what we're doing. Facebook has created a social graph algorithm that is really good. This is the words from like the TikTok CEO when they were asked to compare themselves to Facebook. And just like Google Plus tried to disrupt Facebook back in 2010 and 2011 with a new version of a social graph because Google has all the data in the world, they utterly failed at it. Why did they utterly fail? Because they were not specific enough at creating a meaningful social graph within the confines of a network, right? They weren't able to like realistically create it. But Facebook was. So what TikTok is saying is that, and whether you use TikTok or not, it doesn't really matter. It's more so the argument here that the graph that they have created around entertainment and their algorithm is fundamentally different than what Meta has created, especially on Instagram, right? Because Facebook's trying to copy TikTok in terms of the Instagram stuff and Instagram Reels. But it's hard for them to compete because like they've created a social graph. Like I see my friends' stuff on Facebook and Instagram. I see random people on TikTok, which is why TikTok is so strong for discovery and entertainment. So at that point, TikTok has said we've created an algorithm that is analogous to Google Plus trying to go after Facebook in 2011. Facebook's trying to do the same thing here, and they're going to fail at it. TikTok's very confident about this. So that's the interesting part to me when I think about analyzing the stock. It's why I'm hesitant to buy it, even though I think it's such a good buy just on a pure capitalist money perspective. It's the issue of at the end of the day, like believing that their growth story is not over and that they're still going to make a ton of money, even though other companies are kind of taking some of their lunch here. I have an Oculus Quest 2 and it's phenomenal. Yeah, I got to try one of them. I have never tried it yet. Metaverse in general will be like phones are today. It will be huge one day. Not saying anything about the near future dev from Meta or Apple though. Maybe you're right about that, but maybe you're wrong. That's the thing. It's like, maybe we're wrong about the metaverse. Metaverse or real world is not the question. It's like talk or people call them on the phone or write them in WhatsApp. You write people as you add on your live, not a replacement to real talk. Yeah, I agree, but the time trade-off is a big deal, right? So like if I'm with a person at a concert, we can both use our phones, which means phones have added value there. If I'm with someone at a concert, are we going to put on our metaverse headset? Like there are like a billion different scenarios where you're in the real world and you're using your phone and there's like very few scenarios where you're in the real world and you're using a big clunky headset. Because for the next 10 years, it's going to be big and clunky. They're not going to make some super sleek design for a headset that needs batteries. Like we haven't figured out how to replace battery technology yet. Or like so, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to imagine that. I'm going to touch on the housing and discrimination settlement with the DOJ. I haven't even checked that out. I'll check it out later. I literally haven't gone through that. With VR resolution and processing power, it's also a big thing. Higher resolution requires more power, but lower resolution has more screen door effect. I really noticed that on my Ocular Risk. Yeah, that's interesting. And I also want to know if people use it for other stuff other than gaming, because that's like the big thing that most people use it for. And I want to see like other use cases. Palantir up 3% on the day, 891. Not bad at all. QQQ at the 280 mark. All right, let's go into some crypto news. Let's show you guys what FTX. You guys know FTX because they sponsor pretty much everybody. Sam FTX. Let's just type in FTX. They gave a loan to BlockFi, which is another crypto broker, $250 million to help them get through this. So today, BlockFi signed a term sheet with FTX officials to secure a $250 million revolving credit facility, providing us with access to capital that further bolster our balance sheet and platform strength. I don't understand why FTX is valued at $30 billion. Like, I don't get it. It seems like they do something different than Coinbase because... And it's not just that they're private or that they're public. It seems like they only have 30 employees. Like the business is really, really strong. I mean, like seriously strong. And I always wonder like why? Why is it so strong? To the point where they can give $250 million of credit to another crypto company. Now, the reason they've done this is because they are wanting to make sure that the crypto market doesn't get destroyed, right? BlockFi has careful risk management and great leadership. This is the CEO of FTX. They successfully removed at-risk counterparties preemptively. BlockFi customers' assets are appropriately managed with no debt or risk. Sometimes leadership means acting decisively, and that's what BlockFi did, removing troublesome counterparties before they become a problem and adding cash before it was necessary. BlockFi is financially strong, and going forward, we're excited to partner with BlockFi to offer industry-leading products. We take our duty seriously to protect the digital asset ecosystem and its customers. So the CEO of FTX is saying, hey, we're giving them $250 million because they need the money right now, and we kind of got to work together because if crypto is screwed, if everything goes to crap, if Bitcoin goes to 5, everybody falls. Like the entire industry is destroyed. And I think so that's sort of the core argument for why they're ultimately doing that. I have the FTX app and I'm struggling to understand the hype. Yeah, they're valued at $32 billion in the pre-market, or in the private market. So it's like, I don't know why. Like they're just another exchange, right? I mean, I think they let you trade derivatives or something, but that's also just another exchange, right? Like, I mean, I guess that's a little bit different than Coinbase and whatever, but it's not like that insane to me. It's not that different. So Powell is speaking live right now. I don't know if we want to watch that right now. It's not that crazy. I guess we'll see the updates from here. But he is telling the Fed that they are strongly committed to bringing down inflation. Higher interest rates until compelling evidence emerges that inflation is coming. Yeah, and I mean, that's why the market's not going to rally for a while. I mean, or like really rally. Now, there's some guy in my Discord who believes, shout out to Gabe. We're having a Discord call tonight. We have a Discord call every Wednesday, so if anyone wants to join the Patreon, it's $5 a month. You could check it out, and we have fun. We have some fun Discord calls every Wednesday night. He thinks the S&P is going to go to 45 by December. So he thinks there is going to be a rally. Let me go to the S&P. We hit 4,500 in April, right? Where was this? April levels. Yeah, so around April. Yep. April 8th, we were at 450. So the person in my Discord who is on margin, he's a pretty, he has about a little bit under $1 million of a portfolio that he's working with. He believes, and he's so confident on this, he went into margin. He believes the S&P is going to be at 4,500 by April, and by December. There's going to be a massive rally, and then there's going to be the crash. Now, why does he say so? He has some technical analysis reasons. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to talk to him today on the Discord call, and we're going to see what he says. But he's very confident about this, to the point where he's all in on margin at this point. Now, it's going to be interesting, because if that happens, I mean, that's a great bet. But that's a bit of a stretch to get to 4,500 by December, especially when there's no catalyst in place. Or unless I don't see the main catalyst in place. Now, granted, we're going to see what he says tonight, but that's a lot to ask for the S&P. I think the way we get there is if inflation goes down, and inflation is under like 6%, maybe 5.8%, something like that. But until we get there, it's going to be hard to kind of see that. Okay, let's go to Coinbase is at 55. It's down 4%. If Bitcoin has dropped below 20,000, it would probably be lower right now, but Bitcoin's sustaining itself. Let's go to ARK Invest Daily and see what trades they've been making, because I haven't checked this out. Okay, this is what they did on 6/21. They bought Roku 39,000, bought Square 54,000, bought Shopify 6,000. They sold Snowflake. They had some Snowflake. They had Peloton? Why is ARK selling Peloton now? I feel like they should have gotten rid of that a long time ago. They got rid of Matterport. They had 87,000 shares of Matterport they're getting rid of. The rest of these are not that interesting. Okay, interesting. So they're buying the same dip on the same companies, and they're selling the rest. What about on Friday? This is June 17th. Yeah, this is the last thing that happened. So Matterport. I did not know they had Matterport in this. Interesting. Let's go to the RQ fund, actually. I want to see that. RQ. Where's RQ? RQ. Our ETFs, RQ. This is autonomous tech and robots. Let's look at the holdings. I didn't know they had Matterport in here. Wow. Okay. So they've got Tesla, 155,000 shares. Kratos Defense, 6 million. Deere, UiPath, 3.9 million. They're big on UiPath. Where's UiPath stock right now? I'm thinking of... That's another one I'm like... I know it collapsed at $30. It's at $19 now. Oh, man. Like, what was their all-time high? It was like 400 or some shit. It was 90. Okay. That's not bad. Yeah, Bloomberg notification. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the central bank will keep raising interest rates to tame inflation. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. Oh, they have some Alphabet. They have 11,000 shares of Alphabet. Of Goog. Okay, let's go to the other fund where they sold from, ARK Next Generation Internet. Let's see what they've got here. Zoom is in here. Wow, Zoom is the number one position here. They have another million. They already have 7 million shares. They have Roku here, Tesla, Coinbase, Bitcoin Trust, Block, Twilio. Oh, this looks kind of like the RKK fund. They have 361,000 shares of Spotify here. They've been selling a lot of that, obviously. Nvidia's in here. Disney. Interesting. So this looks like very similar to the RKK fund. I mean, they have a lot of stocks here. Let's finally look at the RK fund, what's left in there. Zoom is still number one. Tesla's number 2. Roku's number 3. CRISPR and UiPath are 4 and 5. Zoom 7.6 million shares. And then Block, they're bullish on 5. Again, this 5.8 million on Block and on Coinbase, where are they at? 5.6 million. This is correlated with Bitcoin. I mean, like Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes up, these two positions are going to go up massively, and hopefully they have a decent average there, and they're going to be able to really do well in that sector. But ultimately, we got to see.
Yo, Mick, good to be here. Japto, thank you for being here. Wonder what Powell is saying to make the market spike. Well, he's just saying we're going to increase interest rates. That's it. And the market is like, all right, they're going to increase interest rates. The more stupid people are, the more they hold. They're strong in their belief. Well, that is also true. People do have beliefs. Anyone have info about Google's digital twin comparison with Matterport? I've been curious. It will kill Matterport.
I have not looked into that. It's at the end of the day, it's really hard for companies to kill other companies that easily. Like Matterport specializes in what they do. So like, yes, Google could theoretically have a competitor, but at the end of the day, you got to remember Google's stock is in a really tough situation. If they don't produce more ad revenue, they lose. So the more money they spend doing other stuff, it distracts them away from doing ad revenue, right? And their Google Cloud, like that's their business, Google Cloud and Google Ads. So they've really got to optimize that over the next 18 months because investors, that's why Facebook's saying, hey, we're not going to optimize for the thing that makes us money and we're just going to like experiment. I think that's made investors really annoyed because they're like, we don't want you to do that right now. But we will see. I still don't get how Cathie Wood doesn't own any Palantir in the funds. Yeah, I don't get that either. I really don't, especially because Bank of America is raising their target to where Cathie sold under. Cathie sold under 13 at 12. So imagine we get to 13. It's like, okay, Cathie, what if you just held it? Like, you'd have been, it wouldn't have been that bad. The weirdest thing about Cathie selling, bro, was she bought 6 million shares in January, in the first week of January. Like, she just bought 6 million shares. And then she sold 37 million by the end of February. It's like, it was just weird. I get you're changing your thesis and your conviction, but goodness, like that's rough. That's rough, right? And the stuff she bought went down as well. So it's like, I guess she didn't even know that her Roku would go down or her Zoom would go down. But all the money she took from Palantir and then put into other stocks, they all went down as well. Palantir up 3%, $9 for the day, not bad. We'll see how long this holds. I mean, the market is happy for what Powell is saying, but ultimately we've got to see if they follow through at the end of the day. And the interest rates actually reduce inflation. That is the fundamental question. Digital twin could serve a space, would be big revenue. Yeah, that also makes sense. That could be definitely very big for them. All right, guys, I think that's it for my market open. Amit, will you love Cathie again if she buys Palantir? Of course, Cathie. I'm waiting for you to come back. Like, I'm waiting for us to talk again. She texted me, I didn't respond. If she hits me with the text that says, hey, I bought Palantir, I will respond. I will not leave you on red, Cathie. I want to talk to you. Path is low-key the 6th biggest holding across all funds. Yes, Path is the one that's in all of the funds as well. Yo, Amit just joined. What's the new Palantir price target? $13. That's what Bank of America is putting Palantir at, $13. Digital twin, blah, blah, blah. They started buying it last year. Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm done for today. Thank you so much. I have a bunch of videos coming out today you can definitely check out. Thank you for joining your morning with me. 195. You really appreciate it. It means the world. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully at 9:20 because I'll get the camera issue fixed and we'll start on time. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. Hope you have a great day. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.